Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a source narrative that's going to completely challenge how you measure your own success. It's titled, The True Cost of Chasing Shadows. I want you to step right into the scene with me. Picture a silent, clinically cold hospital room. It's totally empty except for that rhythmic, isolating hum of medical machines. And there, lying in the bed, is an old man named Edward. He is completely, utterly alone.
Chapter 6. The Hospital Room. In this room, the silence is literally deafening. There are no business partners here to consult with, no board members waiting on his every word. For the first time in decades, as Edward just looks out the window, his mind isn't calculating profits. He's just thinking about time. Edward whispers to the empty room, "I spent my whole life making a living, but I forgot to live." Just sit with the heavy weight of that realization for a second. Imagine the slow, breaking pace of a man who conquered the world, only to realize he never actually walked in it.
Then, a nurse walks in. She smiles politely, just doing her rounds. Edward, maybe grasping for some tiny piece of his towering identity, asks her, "Do you know who I am?" She looks at him and gently replies, "No, but I know you're someone's father." Wow. That simple, gentle observation hit Edward harder than any business failure he'd ever faced in his entire career. Because in that split second, he realized he hadn't actually been a father for a very, very long time.
Chapter 7. The Letter.
Later that night, wrapped in the quiet of the hospital ward, Edward asks for a pen. His hands are physically shaking. Slowly, painfully, he starts to write. But he isn't drafting a memo to his lawyers or giving directives to his company. No, he's writing to his children. And the letter opens with this agonizing, profound confession. Just 4 words. "I was chasing shadows." He starts to admit everything. He's finally looking straight at the illusions he spent his whole life running after, believing they were solid, believing they were what actually mattered. He details this massive accumulation of moments he traded away. Every missed birthday, every broken promise, every skipped family dinner, every single time he said, "I'm busy," or promised maybe next week. It's a record of every moment in his life where he genuinely believed that making money was simply more important than being present. He pours all of this crushing sadness right into the letter, writing, "I thought success meant owning everything. Now I realize success was sitting at the dinner table, and I wasn't there." As he wrote those words, tears actually rolled down his face. Now, what's so striking about this is that losing money had never, ever made this man cry. But the truth, the devastating truth, finally did. Chapter 8. The Final Wish. The very next morning, the sun comes up, and his lawyer arrives at the hospital to get Edward's final instructions. This is it. This is the exact moment where a lifetime of misplaced priorities gets completely rewritten. His lawyer's probably standing there expecting blueprints for another massive monument to Edward's ego. Instead, Edward gives them a desperate plea. He says, "Don't build another building in my name." He tells them to build a park, a specific kind of place where fathers can actually play with their children, a place where families can just spend time together. He explains his reasoning with this incredible realization, because time is the only thing money can never buy. It's such a heavy, unyielding truth, and just a few hours after speaking those exact words, Edward closed his eyes for the last time. It's the emotional end to a life spent learning the right lesson, just entirely too late. Chapter 9. The Funeral. Now, while Edward's internal world had completely shifted in his final hours, the outside world really only knew his wealth. So his funeral was this massive spectacle of worldly success. We're talking incredibly expensive flowers, luxury cars pulling up, important people everywhere, and television cameras documenting the passing of an absolute titan. But something vital was missing. His children stood there, quietly. They weren't crying, they weren't smiling. They were just empty. All of that massive success completely failed to bring them any comfort. During the service, a reporter actually walks right up to Edward's son and asks a simple question. "What was your father like?" The son thinks for a long, long moment, and then he gives this crushing reply. "I don't know. He was always working." Those 6 words. Think about that. Those 6 words completely destroyed everything Edward had spent his entire life building. Chapter 10. The Park. Fast forward a few months later, and a warm, hopeful reality actually begins to take shape. The park Edward requested, it's finally finished. The cold sounds of medical machines and those silent, empty funerals are totally replaced. Children are laughing. Parents are smiling. Families are out there actually playing together. The real beauty of this space is how it absolutely transforms pain into purpose. You see, Edward couldn't change his own life. It was too late for him. But his biggest regret, it ended up changing thousands of others. Because this beautiful sight of families playing was anchored by a small stone near the park's entrance. And beautifully, it had absolutely nothing to do with his business achievements or his wealth.
It contained just one single sentence, carved right into the stone. Never become so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Thousands of people would stop and read those words, and because of that simple message, they'd go home a little earlier that day. They would call their parents, they'd hug their children, they would cancel those totally unnecessary meetings.
The final meeting.
So I want to pivot directly to you right now. Because the truth is, one day, every single one of us is going to attend our final meeting. It's not going to be with a demanding boss. It's not going to be with your biggest clients. It's going to be a meeting with life itself. And on that day, life isn't going to ask you, hey, how much money did you make? The very first piercing question life will demand of you is simply, did you love enough?
The second question it's going to ask is, did you forgive enough? Just let the emotional weight of that settle for a second. All those grudges, all that stubborn pride, did you finally let it go?
And finally, life will ask, did you spend time with the people who mattered? This is it. This is the ultimate metric. This cements what actually holds value at the very end of a human life.
We really have to remind ourselves of the harsh, unyielding realities of what truly endures after we're gone. Your bank account? Yeah, it's never going to attend your funeral. Your job? They'll literally replace you in a week. But your family? Your family will remember your absence forever. So I'm leaving you with this challenge, taken directly from the lessons of Edward's life. Before you go out and chase another dollar, before you skip another family dinner or say, maybe next week, just one more time, ask yourself right now, what is this actually costing me?
Because the ultimate truth is this: the richest man in the cemetery is still the poorest man if he dies with a heart full of regret. Take a really deep breath, let those words sink all the way in. It's time to reevaluate your own shadows. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Take care of yourselves, and please, go spend some time with the people who matter.